Yo YouTube, this is my video for Friday the 26th of September, the last Friday of the month and the last Friday of the quarter. So it might be really busy today, or it might not be. I have got this job from last night. I've just picked up 2 small boxes from Bourne, which is very close to where I live. It's only about 15 minutes away. And I'm now on my way to Chorley in the northwest. It's 158 miles loaded, 158. It's going to take me about 3¼ hours at the moment. It's saying 3¼ hours. It could rise, I'm sure. So I should be finished, I'm going to guess, around about 1 o'clock. Give you a bit of leeway. And I had to pick up at 9, which I did. I got there at 9, and I had to wait for about 20 minutes because they're having lunch or breakfast or whatever, they're having a break. Even though it's only 2 boxes which they carried out, I think there's a miscommunication. I told people I was there, and I don't think anyone told the right person that I was there. Then he came walking out with 2 boxes saying no one had told him. So anyway, I wasn't too bothered about it. I came in behind a lorry anyway. The lorry got offloaded. So although as it happened, I didn't need to wait for a forklift driver. If I had to wait for a forklift driver when I got in behind the lorry, it would have been about the same amount of time. So I'm not too bothered about it. So yeah, I'm on my way down to Chorley. I've got a full tank, half a tank of fuel. So it'll get me there. It might even get me most way back home as well. And hopefully it'll be a good day today. My current average daily net income this week from 2 days' work is £225. If I could replicate that today, that would be a really good average. And I think it will mean that my 2 days off at the start of the week won't affect me very much. And then I've got a couple of days next week to finish off the month. So I'm probably going to have the best month. Well, I am going to have the best month certainly this year, probably the last couple of years in terms of earnings. So I'm looking forward to those figures. I'm looking forward even more to the end of October when the money starts rolling in. I'm expecting October to be similarly good, and then I'm expecting November to be difficult because that's when I'm on operation. So 2 good months. If I have 2 good months out of the 12, that's a start, isn't it? And then maybe next year go for 3 good months out of the 12. That's how I look at it anyway. Anyway, right, so hope you're doing well. I've got quite a lot of videos to edit now, which I'll start doing at the weekend, I think, and then be back on track to having them out each day. Right, hello there YouTube. It is now 1 o'clock. I delivered my first delivery at just gone 12:30, so about half an hour ago, and I've been sitting on the industrial estate looking for another job. It has been interesting. I put a couple of bids on jobs I want to do. So one was Skelmersdale to Derby, for £80 bid on there for that one. There's about 96 miles loaded. And then the one I thought I was going to get was Blackburn BB1, which is about 18 miles away. So that's say 26 minutes away, and I bid £160, and that's a job going to Letchworth Garden City for 205 miles. And I worked that out as that's equivalent of 78 pence per loaded mile. And I thought I'd get that job. The only reason maybe I didn't get it was more to do with me being 26 minutes away. But it was a good price, and I thought I could do that. Those are the 2 jobs I really wanted that I didn't get. Everything else that's local I'm not bidding on. I'm not going further away from home. I'm looking at anything that's long distance heading towards the east or south. So I've got the places I can probably areas to get work from would be Skelmersdale, Preston, Leyland, Blackburn, maybe the outskirts of Manchester, maybe Liverpool. I think I've got a reasonably good geographical area to get jobs from, and there's not that many drivers around, so I should get something. But I spent half an hour bidding on quite a lot of stuff, and I've not had anything yet. So I am hopeful at the moment. My only concern is it's a Friday, and travelling on the M62 out of Manchester on a Friday, I've learned is difficult. So I want to get going as soon as possible to get across the Pennines before it gets too busy. So let's get a job. I don't want to stay around this area. I don't want to get little jobs sort of here. I'm going to spend the other alternative, but I'll get a job from here to Birmingham. I'll do that as well. So Birmingham, or across to sort of the east side of the country, or further to Bristol I'll go to, or I'd go to London. So I've got a reasonable amount of options. Just got to find the right job that pays me the right amount. I think the key thing is going to be, if I get a job where I'm within 15-20 minutes, I'll probably get it. If I'm more than 20 minutes, I probably won't get it because the drivers are around. That's my prediction. So I'll let you know how it goes in a few seconds. Cheers. Hi there, YouTube. So I have, on occasions, I'm stuck with a dilemma with this job, and I have to make a decision one way or the other, neither of which is necessarily the best thing for me. And this is an example of one of those dilemmas. When I finish explaining it to you, there'll be a subset of you that'll go, I'm an effing idiot for doing what I'm doing. And there'll be another subset of you which will go, I absolutely agree with you, you should definitely do what you're doing. And I definitely fall into the second category. I'm happy with what I'm doing, but I'm very mindful I could quite easily slip down that snake into the first box and it'd be an idiotic thing to do. But I think the risk reward, from my point of view, is well worth it. So have I got your attention now for my next bit of the video? Here goes. Let's go back to 1:30. I've been sitting around at my last video for half an hour trying to find a job, being quite picky, wanted to get a decent long distance job taking me towards home as quickly as possible. And I was going to go quite cheap. 20 minutes later I was still searching, still not getting any joy. And then a job popped up and it just shone and rang out to me. That was my job. It was going from Chorley, which is where I was, to Norwich. It was a midi van job, and I jumped on that really quickly. I read the notes. It said this job requires a sack barrow and straps, and there is two problems with that statement. The first problem is that implies there's some handballing that requires a sack barrow, and that probably is something I can do. And the second problem with that is I don't currently have my sack barrow on my van. So, slight aside, when I helped my daughter move house a few months ago, I left my sack barrow with her so that when my ex-wife went up the following week to help finish off the job, they had the tools to help. And so my sack barrow is currently in the hands of, or in the property of, my ex-wife. And so I felt that I probably couldn't bid on this job because I didn't have a sack barrow. And then I thought, that's a £230 job. Who else is going to want to go to Norwich on a Friday afternoon? And you are 10 minutes or less from the pickup point. I ended up being 7 minutes from the pickup point. I could not bid on it. So I weighed up all those options and I bid 225 for 230 miles loaded. And I thought, when he rings, or if and when they ring, I will find out what the reason is for the sack barrow and the straps. And so I got a call about 5 minutes later, and I tentatively asked him what was the load, why did I need a sack barrow? He said I needed a sack barrow because the item was going to go to a residential address, and I didn't want the customer to be involved in the lifting or the movement of the item. And I then said to him, well, I'm happy to do the job, but I have a problem. My sack burrows, I said to him, is at home. It's the same difference. My sack burrow's at home, and I can pick it up on the way to Norwich. That's not a problem, but I can't use it to load up. And so he said that should be fine because the guy who I'm picking up from is a business, and he can help me load it. So I agreed to do the job. He described to me the dimensions of the load. It said 1.2 meters long by half a meter sort of square, and I thought that would probably be fine for me. In my mind's eye, it was a bit bigger than what it ended up being. So then I picked up the job. I went to the pickup point, and when I arrived, the guy had been told about me going home to get the sack truck. He was happy with that. He wanted to make sure I strapped down the load. So I carried the item with the sack burrow as a little test around the side of my van, and it was fine with the sack burrow. It wasn't that heavy. It's 35 kilograms, so with the wheels it's not really an issue. And then I had a bit of help sliding it onto my van. I strapped it all up. I put a blanket underneath the ratchet bit of the strap. I checked with him, is he okay with that? He was absolutely fine with that. He was very pleased with the strapping. I said that my ETA was going to be about 6 o'clock in Wisbech, which is where I'm getting the sack barrow from, and then about 2 hours on from there to get the delivery to Norwich. He was happy with that. I said to him that he gave me the phone number of the customer. I said he would let the customer know that I'd be there for about 9 o'clock, which I thought was a very good idea. So all of that pickup point went very well, very amiable, very helpful, very easy, and everyone was happy. So I've texted my ex-wife to say I'm on my way down, hopefully you're in to get the sack barrow. And then I am now on my way to Wisbech, which is not where I live, but it's close enough. It is on the way to Norwich though, definitely. And so there you go, that's my story. 35 kilograms is more than I can carry. I can't lift that, absolutely can't lift that. But with a sack barrow it was fine. If I can slide off the item onto the floor, onto my sack barrow, that's going to be fine on offloading. If I'm just moving it from my van to a house on the ground floor, that's not an issue for me, as long as I'm not sliding it off at the end. If it involves me lifting this package at any point, I can't do that. And I'm assuming and hoping that because the sack barrow has been requested, that's all that's required to move this item, rather than actually lifting it any height. So the risk of it being a problem is there. It could be a problem for me. My ways around this would be to judge it. If the person I'm delivering it to is perfectly happy to help, I might help them too. And I need help, I'll ask them to help me if I need it. If they can't help me because maybe they're disabled, I will probably end up struggling to do it myself or asking a neighbour to help. So I'll find a way around it, and that's so. If you had a negative mindset, you would think this is not worth doing because of the risk that it might be difficult at the other end, or very difficult at the other end to load. Whereas I'm more of a positive mindset. I think that the likelihood of it being a problem is reasonably remote. The chance of it being doable and doable safely is much higher. Like most things in life, it's risk-reward, isn't it? It's grey. Nothing's ever completely one thing or the other. So this is how I see the world. So I know some of you will see it very differently. I'm getting a good rate of pay for this. It takes me pretty much home. It's a bit further than ideal, but I'm getting paid for all those miles, that hour and a half that I'm driving past my house to Norwich. I'm being paid for all that. It's just the mileage home that I'm not being paid for. That's no worse than me going to London and dead miling at home. I'm getting a lot more money than I would have done for got the job. I've been on a job going to Slough for like 80p a mile, and I didn't get the job. So this is, I think, right for me, but I am very mindful that I need to get A, the sack barrow, and B, get delivered safely. Right, I think that's it. I think that's everything I've got to say to you. I will give you my stats at the end of on the way back. Probably it'll be dark because I'm going to come back from Norwich. I'll give you my stats for the day and for the week. But bearing in mind I work for 3 days, it's going to be a very good average daily rate and a very good, a pretty good week, to be honest. So I'm really pleased about how this week's gone. Kind of the decision to have 2 days off at the start was good for me, and I've managed to get a reasonably good income with the remaining 3 days this week. Right, I'll speak to you in the blink of an eye, and it'll be dark, and I'll be going home. Right, I am back in a blink of an eye. The time now is just gone 9:30. I'm about 45 minutes from home. I did stop on the way back from Norwich to get a McDonald's because I was a bit too hungry to do the whole trip. It was actually 2 hours at the end because there's a road that's closed, and I was I was the other side of Norwich. So here are my stats for both today and then for the whole week, although it's only been 3 days. So for today, I filled with fuel again today, so my new average fuel price is 13.70 pence per mile. Today I've driven a total of 501 miles, 501. I will have worked for a total today of 13.25 hours, and I have made a gross amount from 2 CX jobs of £370, 370. My fuel wasn't too bad, it was £68.64, so around that £69. And that means that my net earnings today after fuel comes to £301. Just a quick note on my last job, the delivery side of it. When I arrived at the business address, the guy that was there came out, and I got on the sack barrow, got to his front door, and then he was quite keen to lift it up himself and take it into his house over the threshold. So that was his decision, and he was happy to do that. And so that saved me worrying about that too much. So in the end, it was absolutely the right decision to do this job for me. Right, now then, the week. The week has only been 3 working days this week. And in those 3 days, I have driven a total of 1,199 miles, 1199. I've worked for a total of 33 hours, and I've earned a total gross amount of £920, 920. Fuel costs of those days have been £169, 169, which means that I have earned net this week £751, 751, which averages out as £250, 250 as my average daily net earnings. And then 2 more figures. The actual amount that I've earned in pence for every mile that I've driven is quite good this week. It's 62.64 pence per mile. And finally, if you take into account my fixed business costs of £315, my actual income from those 3 days comes to £436.436, which adds to my pot for the month. I've got 2 more days of work available next week in September, and then I'll give you some figures for on Tuesday. I'll give you figures for the month, but they're going to be pretty good, I think. So I would say another good week. That's 3 good weeks on the trot. I didn't have the time to bid on any jobs for Monday because I was driving from Chorley to Norwich. So I'll have to either look at the weekend or find it on Monday. But yeah, thank you very much for listening to my video. I hope that you are all being successful, however you choose to find that word for yourselves. I'm back to work on Monday. Farewell, friends.